So, what is entrepreneurship, really? I mean, we see the inputs, the big idea, the funding, and we definitely see the outputs, the billion-dollar success story or, the failed startup. But what about the actual journey? That day-to-day process of navigating doubt and seizing opportunity. For decades, that has been a complete black box. Well, today, we're going to find the key to unlock it. All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start by digging into that black box problem. Then we'll see why our old research tools just aren't cutting it. After that, get ready, because we're introducing a groundbreaking new way to see things, exploring its superpowers, seeing how a study using it is actually built, and finally, looking at what all of this means for the future of understanding success. So let's talk about this black box. It's kind of like watching a magician. You see them put a rabbit in a hat, and then, poof, a dove flies out. You've seen the beginning and the end, but you've totally missed the most important part, the how. That's the exact problem researchers have been facing when they try to understand entrepreneurship. It's a process, right? Not just a single event. And if you look at the official definition of entrepreneurship, it tells the whole story. The key words are all actions: how, discovered, evaluated, exploited. These are all things that happen over time. So at its very core, the field is defined as a journey, a sequence of events. And you just can't study a journey with tools that are designed to take a single snapshot. This question just hits the nail on the head. It's the perfect way to think about it. For years, we've been trying to understand a full-length feature film by just looking at a few random photos taken on set. Sure, you might get a sense of the characters or the location, but you completely miss the plot, the drama, the character development, and the ending. To really understand the story, you've got to watch the movie. So the problem is that for decades, researchers have basically been trying to film this movie with a still camera. The traditional tools, like a one-time survey or an interview asking a founder to remember some key decision from months ago, they just weren't built to capture a process that's so dynamic and constantly changing. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The experts all agree. As this quote points out, there's a massive knowledge gap. We're actually pretty good at describing who becomes an entrepreneur, their personality, their background, but we're surprisingly bad at explaining how they actually do it, moment by moment. And this methodological problem, it's been holding the entire field back. Okay, so here's the core issue. Human memory is, well, it's not a perfect recording. When you ask a successful founder about their big aha moment, their memory of it has been completely reshaped by all the success that came after. They subconsciously clean up the story, forget all the dead ends, and create this neat, heroic narrative that's just not what really happened. It's not that they're lying, it's a cognitive quirk called retrospective bias, and it's a huge, huge problem for research. This slide right here shows the fundamental shift in thinking that we need. Traditionally, research has been between person. What's that? It's comparing entrepreneur A to entrepreneur B to answer questions like, who is more successful? That's our static snapshot again. But to understand the process, we need within-person analysis. We need to track entrepreneur A over time, day by day, hour by hour, to see how their mood, their effort, and their decisions change as they face new challenges. That is how we see the dynamic movie. So, if the old tools are broken, what's the solution? How do we finally start watching the movie instead of just looking at photos? Well, the answer is an innovative research method called Experience Sampling Methodology, or ESM for short. Think of it as a brand new, high-definition camera that's designed specifically to film the entrepreneurial journey as it happens. The idea behind ESM is actually pretty simple, but it's so powerful. Instead of asking about the past, it asks about the right now. Researchers basically ping participants multiple times a day to report what they're doing, thinking, and feeling in that exact moment. It gets research out of the artificial lab and into the real world, the co-working space, the late-night coding session, you name it. It's a way to capture life as it's actually lived. Now, this data isn't just collected randomly. It's gathered using some very specific, really well-structured protocols. So you can have people report at fixed intervals, kind of like a daily diary entry. Or it can be triggered by a specific event, like asking a founder to fill out a quick survey right after every single investor pitch. Or, and this is the most common and powerful method, participants get prompted by a random signal from their phone. That randomness is key because it gives you an unbiased sample of their entire experience, not just the big, memorable moments. Okay, so we've got this new tool. But what makes it so special? I like to think of ESM as having 4 superpowers that completely blow the weaknesses of the old methods out of the water. So here they are. First, ESM captures that dynamic dance between a person and their situation. Second, it's real-world data, not stuff from a lab. Third, it lets us finally do that within-person analysis we were talking about. And fourth, this is the big one, it gets rid of those pesky memory biases. Let's take a closer look at a couple of these. This first superpower is just incredible. For the first time ever, we can actually study what researchers call the individual opportunity nexus, that magic moment where a person and an idea connect. Imagine seeing a data stream showing low motivation all morning, then a sudden spike in creative insight at 2:15 p.m., right after a chat with a customer. That's the kind of super detailed connection ESM can make. And this fourth superpower? It directly solves the biggest problem we talked about earlier. It replaces those fuzzy, distorted memories with a sharp, in-the-moment focus. By collecting data as it happens, ESM gives us a much more honest and accurate picture of what's going on. We get the raw, unfiltered footage of the movie, not the director's cut that was edited years later. Now, all this sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work in practice? Well, the key is the technology that all of us carry around in our pockets every single day. This flowchart lays out the whole process, and it's very methodical. You design your questions, you develop a simple app, recruit and train your entrepreneurs, collect data over a few weeks, follow up with them, and then you analyze this incredibly rich, multi-layered data set you've gathered. It basically transforms a messy, real-world process into structured, analyzable information. You know, this method wasn't always so practical. Early researchers used these clunky PDAs, or they made people log into websites. The real game changer was the cell phone. I mean, just look at the table. It's superior across the board. It's accessible, it's low cost, and it's fantastic for managing data and tracking compliance in real time. It's what made large-scale ESM studies truly possible for the first time. And for the entrepreneur who's actually participating, the experience is designed to be as easy as possible. They get a text notification, they tap it, a simple survey opens up, they answer a few questions, usually on a 1 to 5 scale, questions like, how much effort are you putting into your venture right now? The whole thing takes less than 2 minutes, and then they're right back to their day. It's a tiny interruption that gives us incredibly valuable data. So, what's the big payoff for all of this? Well, this new, clearer view of the entrepreneurial process isn't just some academic exercise. It has profound, real-world implications for everyone. I mean, at the end of the day, better data leads to better outcomes. Educators can teach what the process is really like. Incubators can design better support programs. For instance, if data shows that founders' motivation always dips on Wednesdays, maybe an incubator could schedule peer support sessions to counteract that. And most importantly, entrepreneurs themselves can see their own patterns to better manage their energy, their motivation, and their focus. This quote really says it all, doesn't it? After decades of studying photographs, we can finally watch the movie. ESM gives us a truly unique and valuable way to finally unravel the how of success. And this brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought. We started out by looking at entrepreneurship, but this tool is way more powerful than just one field. If we can map the real-time journey of creating a company, what about the journey of writing a novel, or training for a marathon, or learning a new skill? The ability to see these complex human processes as they unfold in real time, well, it opens up a whole new world of understanding. The black box is open. The real question is, what will we look at now?